And record. And we have 9 people so far. Let's get this started so we have a fancy screen in front of us as well. And we'll wait a few more minutes for people to show up. I'm at my house, so if a UPS truck drives by, my dogs are going to go ballistic. And everyone's going to hear them bark.
Well, it just makes things more interesting. So hello, everyone. You can talk to us by the chat in your right-hand corner if you feel so compelled.
Or you can talk into a microphone as well, but we won't hear you, which would make it interesting.
So of those that have shown up, if you want to just say something so we know that you can hear us before we begin. Any volunteers? No one wants to say hello?
No one's here. Oh, we got somebody. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Diana. Hi, Kyle.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm Wendy. I am a designer in New Jersey. I'm on the board of directors for the ACSP. Welcome. And Sean is in charge of the screen.
So I'm told.
Sean,
And
Sean, say who you are.
I'm Sean, and that's my beautiful picture there.
Your picture's
And
gone, Sean. Share your
oh,
screen.
it's gone?
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know how to get it back. Nope. Still not there, eh?
Nope.
Jeez. What kind of amateur hour is this? All right, let's try that. Am I there now?
I don't see it. Does anyone else see it?
I'm a troublemaker. Let's try.
There you go.
There we go. Here we go. Hey, that's me.
And you're gone again.
Ah, jeez.
Stop touching buttons.
How about that?
No. Yes.
Let's try that. All right, so as long as I don't do anything, we're golden.
All right. I like Nancy's answer. Yes, no, yes, no. Ha. Perfect.
Well, I don't know about perfect,
Okay.
but we'll see. Okay, so yeah, here I am. I'm Sean. You know, when I got these pictures taken, my friend is a photographer. I went to her sister's. Her sister invited me to their mom's birthday party. It was turning like 60 or something. So I was complaining. I said, "Hey, I need a headshot." She said, "Hey, I'm a photographer. I do babies, but I want to get into people." And the pictures were so good, I wanted to put them up on my wall, like pictures of myself all through my house. That's how good they were. Obviously, I'm biased, but if any of you want pictures, I will gladly give you a picture of myself as well, which is not creepy at all.
I just want the mini-me. Okay. So welcome. We are doing the certification review. Hopefully some of you are signed up or considering signing up to get certified and go through the system, whether it's at the show or after the show.
I hope so too. That's why we're all here.
Yep. How many? We have 12, so we should probably give it a couple more minutes for everyone to get out there. Or should we go ahead and get started?
Let's give it a few more minutes.
Okay.
26 people at last count signed up.
So we're not quite halfway there.
No, and I didn't go approve other people, which is horrible.
I
Because
couldn't find it.
yeah, no worries. Their loss, quite honestly. Well, while we're waiting, let's jump to the next one here. Let's go. See, I'm going to screw it up here. Let's go. Let's go. Next slide. Most awkward way to do this. Next slide. Here we go. Get certified or get left behind is what it says, as you can read. And in my market here in Toronto, there's probably, I'm going to say 50 closet companies, or 100 if you count kitchen companies who do closets. and it's ridiculous. And every kitchen company does closets, it seems, and a lot of them do such a shitty job. Some of them do a great job, and some of them do a really good job making it look good, but just don't know what they're doing function wise. And I don't know about you, Wendy, if that's the same in New Jersey.
Yeah, I see some pretty crazy stuff out there that just you walk in and you shake your head. What have they done? So with the certification, what and Diana's on this call, what some of what they did was created a guideline, and it's a guideline. Obviously, everyone is going to, it's going to be average guidelines. So people are going to do things a little bit differently, per your company, but it gives you kind of average standards to stay within when you're doing your things.
Yeah, which I guess kitchen companies just don't know or care to do. But they get certified to do kitchens, and I don't know why we don't have the same thing, which is why we're here, quite honestly. So, do we keep going here? Let me just type in.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's just go.
Okay, I'm just sending that. So, next slide. How do we do that? Most awkward way to do it here. All the information, almost all the information came out of the planning guide, which was put together. This one is 2014. It was put together, so it's the first edition, but I think it's been revised slightly since then. I had a digital copy, which is where I pulled this from. But all the information is in there. There's no secrets. So if you don't have this already, which you should, then you can get more from the Closet Association. They have plenty of copies, and they can get you some. I think they cost a couple bucks. If you want a digital one, you can probably get one for free if you really want.
What they're good for is they're nice for the builders, to give to the builders, so they can start, putting their walls where they're supposed to be instead of awkward areas, which we often tend to find after the fact, after it's been sheetrocked. So it's just a nice thing for them to remember you. Has the ACSP logo on it. Okay, next slide, Sean.
Next slide. Okay, here we go. And next slide. I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, so I'm going to go to the drop-down menu. So here's the website. This is the new website, in fact. If y'all haven't been to it yet, then you should. You can log in. You can put pictures. You can put pictures of yourself. You can put your logo. You can fill out some company information, which you probably should, because a lot of people surprisingly go to it, and there's a few customers who go to as well looking for closet people. So this is something that you should do, but you can find all these webinars on there, and you can get certified, or at least get the ball rolling on there, and you can order the planning guide on there as well. So it is closets.org is the web address, and the picture there of the garage is from one that somebody did. So you can submit pictures and they'll cycle through as well. I don't know how often or how that works exactly, but I know people's pictures do cycle through. So there you go.
We will have a tutorial on the new website as a webinar coming up so that you can see how to put your own picture in there, your own closet photos in there, and be able to submit blogs for content in there as well, guest blogs and such. Okay.
Okay, next. So let's get right to it. Down to the business. All closets, and that's it. So we're not going to give you answers to the questions because that's not cool. But a lot of it's common sense, I hope. And a lot of it is stuff that you should know and stuff that you'll have learned over the years from being in the business and like designing stuff. Hopefully, if you're designing, you've been out to a job site to see some stuff being installed. If you're really lucky and you've worked with an installer for a bit, then you'll appreciate what they have to go through and why a seemingly little screw up on your end is a huge pain in the ass on their end. So the the 32 mil system here that is up on the screen is what closets are usually based on 99.99% of the time. And that comes from 32 millimeters between the holes. And usually, again, it's a 5 millimeter hole that is drilled for the shelf pin or the screw and stud, push through stud, whatever you want to call it. And the 32 mil system, I guess, was, for a little history lesson, was from after World War II when Germany was rebuilding. They needed to have a common, I don't know the right word, I guess a common system for cabinets so they could be rebuilt efficiently and uniformly. So they came up with this system. That's where it comes from, if you ever wonder that. 32 millimeters is converted to 1.25 about. I think it's not exact, but that's close enough for people in the US. I'm in Canada, so I use both, but millimeters more often than not. But you'll need to know both for the test. So there are some questions that require inches, and I don't think there are any that require millimeters, except maybe drawer fronts. Actually, I'm lying to you. There are some. So you should know both. And if you don't know both, then you can convert it by doing take the millimeter and divide it by, well, let's go to the next slide here. Perfect. Okay. So if you have a drawer front and it's in millimeters and you want to convert it to inches, you can divide it by 25.4, and that will give you what the inch increment is. And why that's important is because, so if you got your 32 millimeter system and you have your holes every 32 millimeters, and you have your shelf at that 32 millimeter mark sitting more or less centered on that hole, you want to have your drawer front close on that shelf. So the shelf below and whatever shelf above, however many holes. So if you, for instance, the middle drawer is 256, in theory, there should be a shelf between the first drawer and the second drawer and the second and third. Maybe you don't do that. Maybe you just put one at the top, one at the bottom. But if you were to do, say, a laundry hamper at the bottom and you want it to close on a shelf and the drawer close on a shelf, then you need to make sure that drawer front matches up between those two shelves. So these numbers are fairly approximate. I don't know if they don't take into account spacing between the drawers. So even though that drawer is 256 in the middle, the true drawer front might actually be 250 and have 3 millimeters above and 3 millimeters below, or whatever the math works out to be. But if you kind of go by this as your guideline, you won't go wrong.
So again, considering average guidelines, for our company, we do our spacing. Our small is 6 1/8. Our medium is 8 11/16. So they're very close to what you're seeing. Obviously, everyone does things a tiny bit different. Just to keep these numbers in mind as your guidelines. They are not exact. Every company is different. We acknowledge that.
Yeah, although if you have a 6 1/8, 6 1/8 is a lot closer to 6 1/4. So that kind of use that as your rule. If you're used to doing that with your customers, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Next slide. Here we go. So, this is a tough one. This is out of, I think Denise did help with these. Maybe she made them all up herself, and or not made up herself, but compiled it. Maybe is a better way to say it. So these are the average. Again, we're keeping with averages. The width and the length of most articles of clothing, and they're not hidden measurements. They're not surprises. You should probably know what most of these are. And again, they're averages. Excuse me, they're averages. So if you're a guy who's 6'4", then your pants are going to be a lot longer than a guy who's 4'11". So you have to account for that with everybody. But if you stick with these, they're going to take care of 80% of the people you deal with. And there are some questions on the test about if you have X amount of space, how much do you need for X of storage, whether it's long hang, double hang, triple hang, if it's for kids, or width as well. If you have 36 inches, how many pairs of pants can you fit in that area? So it's worth knowing. I don't think, as I said, these measurements are proprietary or secrets. You probably know them already. Other things you'll need to know for the test are heights of things like things that you store in a pantry, like a mop, a broom, possibly a vacuum, whether it's canister and upright. And they're all pretty standard, believe it or not, within a few inches of each other. So if you don't need to go measure Dyson's and then another vacuum brand, which I don't know any other vacuum brands. So, and baking trays. Sorry, Wendy, I think I just cut you off.
That's all right. I was laughing at you because you didn't know how big a vacuum, or you didn't know any vacuum cleaner brands. Um, Bachelor there. So obviously we're not giving you all the answers. Another good thing is, measure these in your own home because it's going to make the sizing retain better in your mind when you start doing these things for the test and for your clients. Baking trays are, give them a measure so that you know how much space you want to give yourself, not just for, again, for the test, but also for design purposes, because the more you do it hands-on, the more it's going to help you be a better designer and remember those numbers.
Yeah, they're not exactly secrets. And good on Denise for taking the time to measure all these things at some point, because that's probably a lot of work. Okay, next slide here. Oh, yeah, right. Here we go. Desks. That is on there as well. So the little image of a desk there. I know it's tiny, but deal with it. Um, you'll need to know heights of desks. The space between desks. I didn't know this, but apparently that's called the knee hole. I thought somebody was insulting me, but apparently it's called a knee hole. So you'll need to know things like that. Minimums. I don't think there's a maximum for it, but sit at your desk and just take a tape measure out and start measuring things around you, and you'll be surprised what how common everything is. Table heights, counter heights. This all stuff that is on the test, and it's all stuff that's probably in your house or your showroom or office. Um, Depth of desks are also important, and space around desks or islands, walking around space, or if you're sitting in a chair, how much space you need kind of around you, in front of you for a couple chairs. So that is on there in one way or another. One thing I don't think we spoke about is I think it's a 50 question test, but there are actually double the questions. So it's a random selection of what you get. So we had a lot to cover. So I don't know if someone may get a question on desk height, someone may not get a question on desk height. I don't know how that works, and I'm not going to tell you if I did.
With regards to the desk space, if you're working within a U desk with a desk in the front, something to the side of you, something behind you, the space that is recommended for your desk space with something behind you is 42 inches. It's not shown on this graph, and we're trying not to. We looked to find the specs on that, and we weren't able to do that. It's just something to keep in mind. And sit at a desk and put your space behind you, put something behind you, and see how much, pull your chair out, give it a spin, and see how much room you require for what's behind you. That double hung adult coats, it's the top shelf. Again, average top shelf height for coats for these are averages. Most companies are using 84. Our company actually uses 86 as our top inch height. So again, we're sticking with averages, guidelines to follow. So keep all of that in mind.
Yeah, I'm 86 as well, Wendy. I just tell people it's 7 feet just because it's easy to say. But when I get specifics, like when I deal with engineers who want everything down to the millimeter, then I tell them it's exactly 2176 millimeters. Okay, next slide. Oh yeah, right. Here we go. This is a fun one. this, as a designer, I hope you never have to deal with yourself because it's a pain in the ass. This is apparently, or not really apparently, but door manufacturers have recommendations for how many hinges go on a door. And some, I buy my stuff from somebody and they figure this out for me. I don't have to do anything. So they follow these guidelines. But if you have an engineering department, you might be as lucky that you just give them the drawing and they figure it out all out for you. So depending on your door height will determine how many hinges are required, as well as width kind of plays into that a little bit as well, because there are weight limits. I didn't bother to have that information. This information was taken from Primo's website. You can see at the bottom, and I'm sure a company like Northern Contours would be the same. I'm sure a local supplier would follow these guidelines. So it's something to kind of keep in mind, and it's probably pretty common sense. The measurements for the hinge location, I don't think it's on the test. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wendy. Um,
Location's not on there.
yeah, okay,
It's just
so
a number.
yeah, so location's not on there, but obviously if you're going to do, say, a pull-out shelf behind a door, you don't want to have the hinges right where your runner is going to attach because it's obviously not going to allow the runner to slide out. So that is something to consider, but it's not on the test, so never mind. Door overlay style is perhaps on the test. There is the top left you'll see is full overlay and half overlay and inset. I myself tend to do half overlay if I'm going to share a gable, and if I'm not going to share a gable, then I do full overlay. And it's kind of tough to explain because it only shows the one panel and the hinges. But if you have a full overlay on a cabinet that's 24 inches wide, external, then your door is 24 inches. But if you did that with a half overlay, your door now might be 23 and 3/4 because you're going to have a little bit of a gap on each end because then your next door might overlap. So things like that are on there. I think most kitchens do full overlay. Most closets, because they share gables, will do half overlay. So know your overlays.
So stay on there for a second. So keep in mind with that half overlay, just to give you a visual when you're thinking about design and on the test, if you have a cabinet that's 24 inches deep and then you have a cabinet that's 14 inches deep, how you would work that with regards to whether you need a double panel or not. So some people have gotten tricked up on that. So keep in mind, we're not giving you the answer, but keep in mind what you should do just looking at that half overlay photo.
Oh yeah, you're saying like if you have a cabinet 18 inches deep, then one that's 14 right next to it, and you want to have
Yes.
and you want to share
And you
that,
want doors on both.
then you need two gables,
Correct.
or you're in trouble.
Or if you're in America, it's a partition.
Oh right, partition, gable, upright,
Panel,
thing with holes.
you got it.
You guys call them partition, really?
Partitions or panels, that's what we call them. I
Huh.
don't see anyone commenting with what they call them, but feel free.
Yeah, feel
Feel free
free.
to call us out on our terminology.
Okay. So there is a question on this.
Vertical panel.
Yeah,
Vertical panel.
there
Look at
is
that.
call it a vertical panel. Huh, no shit. Two people do. Wow. Hmm. I got sidetracked with the answers to my. So no one calls it a what I call it, gable, upright.
Gable.
Yeah, that's more of a kitchen term, I think.
Okay. Oh, I just saw so Constance, all on one computer. Assistant certified designer supposed to be registered. This is the registered designer. Certified is the next level up, and that test will be available to be taken soon. That was Carol. So this is going to be for registered, which is the first level test. Second level test is coming next. It's about to be released. I do not have the date on that one yet. And yes, vertical panel, gable, Denise. All
Yeah,
right,
sorry
sorry, you
everybody.
missed. My question screen was small, so I missed some of those.
I guess I am the weird one who calls it a gable. I think it's a kitchen term is where that comes from. But yeah, upright
In Canada.
in Canada maybe. We do everything backwards up here. So, anyways, back to this. So there is a few questions on the test about um, wheelchairs and access and um, people without great abilities to move around, possibly known as the ADA, American Disabilities Act things that I don't have to deal with being Canadian. So I'm not familiar with them. But apparently they set a lot of rules for things. Like if you're going to put a hanging bar in a closet, as the guy in the wheelchair is reaching up, you can see he's only allowed to reach up 48 inches because that's all he's allowed to reach. And I'm not sure what the 21-inch max is. Maybe that's his seat height. And then he goes up from there another 27 inches, which is where the 48 comes from. I don't know, but you should probably know it. And it's on the test. Hint, hint.
The 21 inch is the distance for your pole from the wheelchair. If this particular question is not that the left to right 21 max is not on the test. The height has changed from the original test based on 2017's guidelines. We made sure to update them for the test that is going to be given next. So this is a new height at 48 inches. They did drop it for 2017's ADA guidelines.
People are getting smaller, apparently. Only
We're
explanation.
just being nicer with the reach.
Or that. I guess that. Okay, so use a pull down closet rod if you want to take advantage of the height. But if you do that, you need to obviously allow for that rod to come out at you. And Wendy and I were talking about this. That picture on the right is a pull down closet rod, but it's only attached on one side. I've never seen that. And if anybody has, I'm fascinated by it. I'm wondering if it's a photoshopped picture or what, but if anybody knows of a one-sided pull-down closet rod, fill me in because I'm curious. So that's your option, or like the dude on the left, he just has a lower rod with sliding doors in front of it, which is kind of neat because then he doesn't have to deal with doors opening up. And he's got such a pretty backyard there too, but you'll never see that picture or never see out the window because he can't.
So wrong. My vote is for Photoshop. And keep in mind when you pull those down, if you look through the HAFLA and the Rev Shelf book at the specs of this, you will see that there is a minimum requirement for those rods to pull down, and then the extension of the clothing off the rack that pulls down.
Okay, wall beds. I don't know how many people do wall beds, but they're a pain in the ass in every way.
Hold on one second. So we have a question on the board. With the pull-down wardrobe lift, is it just the handle that needs to be below the 48 inches in elevation?
Well, so that's an awkward question because the ADA standards say that it's the bar that has to be below 48 inches. Now, they're saying that you can't reach above that for like just capability reasons. So in theory, just the handle has to be below there. But I think it really comes down. This isn't on the test, but I'm going to say it comes down to the person. And if they're taller and have a bigger reach, then they're more able-bodied than, say, a 75-year-old lady in a wheelchair who might not be able to reach that far. So I don't know if the ADA, like I don't, as I said, I'm from Canada, so I don't know how that stuff works. Like, are they going to come and fine you if you build the closet that's not quite right? I don't know. I would say if the bar is below 48, like that, the handle, then you're good because then they can pull down the rod that may be above and take advantage of the height because people in wheelchairs probably live in regular houses who have regular ceiling heights. So don't waste it.
So we do have answers coming down, which we really appreciate. So Tony said yes, and you need to have just a handle at the 48 or below. So everyone is agreeing with Sean. 48 inches is where the handle needs to be. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, good to know. So do they fine you then? Like, what's this 88 nonsense about?
Um, I think it's just for people in the closet world, I think it's just a request. We've never really been monitored by the ADA, to my knowledge. I've never gotten in trouble. But if someone comes in and says they want something ADA, ooh, we have an answer from Diana. Regardless of whether
Oh,
you get caught, it's about designing for proper access. You can get fined in commercial apartment applications.
huh.
Sean, you better keep that in mind.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess.
if your building is so thinking of the 55 and older buildings that some of us have been doing, that might apply there because they're going to be monitored by the ADA.
Huh, good to know. Well, there you go. Tony again says a requirement in an ADA building. So there you go. I kind of just go by the people. And as I said, if the guy's a basketball player and he's 7 feet tall but happens to be in a wheelchair and he can reach up high, then I'm going to give him a little bit more space than someone who isn't. But I don't do ADA stuff. So I guess,
So Diana noted that it's not monetarily fine, but you would have to rebuild, and that hurts your pocket.
oh, yeah. Fair enough. Huh.
Wall beds.
Yeah, wall beds. Okay, so there's uh, there's a lot of wall bed stuff out there, and not necessarily on a test. There are some questions on the test, but um, again, we're not going to tell you what's on the test, other than you should know your wall beds and you should know kind of dimensions of a cabinet. There's some information on that. You don't really need to know mattress sizes because, well, if you do, great. There's double, queen. I don't think anybody makes a king wall bed that I've ever seen. There are two types for, to kind of keep it simple here. There's a lateral wall bed, which is on the bottom left, which means the pillows would be um, kind of on the side of the bed, if that makes any sense, or the upright wall bed where the pillows would be at the inside the cabinet. So depending on the access around the room or the bed, you may want one or the other to accommodate that. So there may or may not be a question about that on the test, but it's just good to know anyways. And then the height is kind of dependent on what wall bed size you get. So that there is some information on wall beds. Okay, next. Ah, there you go. It's not too late to register to get certified. I totally screwed up these wordings. It's not too late to get registered is what it should say. If you want to be a registered designer, you can, and you can contact Wendy with her phone number and her email, and you can do it in Chicago next month.
In a couple weeks.
Couple weeks. There you go. So it's, as I said earlier, it's in my neighborhood. I don't think I finished my thought, but in my neighborhood, there's easily 100 people, many who do kitchens, many who do closets, and to me, this is just one more thing to say, hey, look, I actually care about my job or my company. It's not just a job. This is the real deal. I took the time to get certified. My competitor here didn't. I actually know how to design properly. They may or may not. Who do you want to trust? So I think that's what it comes down to. And that's why I'm getting registered as a designer.
Registered is the first step. The next level and the next level up is considered certified and is called certified, and then the next level up will be mastered. a master designer. So we will get you information on that as well. If you have questions, you can feel free to reach out to either of us. My contact info is on there. There's if you need a couple clarification of some of these, because we did this fairly quickly to get everyone home for the day. We can, I have a chart that I can make a copy of and get you that has the fraction to decimal to millimeter conversion chart on it. If no one has that, you don't have to have that quite memorized with this level. Sean, anything else as people are dropping out?
No, I don't. I have nothing else really. I guess any questions before we cut loose here? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Anything you want to look back at slide-wise with the measurements?
Yeah, the only really, well, I should say the only really important slide, but the one that's probably the most important is the measurement one. That there are some questions about measurements on the
Thank you,
test.
Sharon. Keep in mind, again, as they're average guidelines. They're not set in stone, but know your average guidelines. It helps you as a designer, but it also it's what the test was built upon, so that we all are in the same direction as we're going through our designs, and so you don't see crazy things when you walk in and see how someone else has designed it.
Yeah, a lot of time was put into the planning guide. A lot of time has been put into the test, but everybody does things a little bit differently. Like I call uprights gables, for instance. So everybody is a little bit different. So a lot of it is just guidelines and averages for the answers. Um, I'm sure most people won't have trouble, but I did the test and I got surprisingly lower than I would have thought. I thought I would have aced it, but I did not. So you need to study. They actually spent a lot of time initially thinking up good, thoughtful questions that made me kind of go back and learn a few things, which I was kind of impressed with.
Um, uh, Diana, thank you, and Tony, yes, the guideline, the website is new. We have just updated it. There should be a link on there to purchase the guideline. If it's not on there, we will make sure it gets back on there. We are also going to have a refresher course before we take this test at the show. It'll be mentioned at the show, so you can do a quick little refresher and then get your test on.
Yeah, I think at the show as well, Janet is really good about having a few copies of the planning guide. So if you can um, find the ACSP booth in the show, then you can probably beg and plead a free copy because she's really nice and will help you if you need one. Or we can get you digital copies. But yeah, everybody should have the planning guide because it a lot of
So,
work went into it.
Tony, yes, closets.org. Yes, Karen, you can take the test before the show. You don't have to wait. You can get it done now. Um, that you can take the test online. There are some requirements that you have to fulfill with regards to certain points, whether you've had certain education. The webinars going forward, something like this, something like what Denise teaches, will be considered ongoing educational credits, which will go towards requirements for taking the test. There's certain things that if you go online, you can see what is required. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Again, yes, you can take the test online now without attending the show, but you will be able to take the test at the show as well. And yeah.
Yeah, I guess we never really spoke about that, but there also is the design component to the test. So I think it's four designs you have to do. I just did mine, which is a shame because I don't remember how many there were. But
It's
there's
a pantry, a nursery, a reach-in closet, and a master closet. But there
yeah
are certain things that go into them, and they get that you get points. You're required to put certain things in, and you get points for each type of thing. so many shoes, a hamper that's shared. I'm just loosely going through some things that I remember.
Yeah.
Again, any questions that you might have, feel free. Again, you can write down my email if you need help with something. Yes, take the test in advance if you want. Pull up the requirements and see if you qualify. If you don't qualify, let me know, and we'll look through and see what it is you're missing, um, and we'll see what we can do to help you get what you're missing, so that you can be qualified to take this.
Yeah, you get, I assume everybody who's on this call is going to go to the show next month, but that gets you some points. Education gets you points. Length of time in the biz gets you some points. Um, there are some requirements to meet before you qualify, but it's not, I don't want to say it's not
It's not
difficult.
difficult. It's,
Well,
the
yeah,
points add up quickly.
yeah,
But take a look at, you can download what is required on the website, so you have an idea. Field experience counts. Thank you, Diana. Field experience counts. Being out in the field for so many years, you get a certain amount of points for each one. Again, go on the website. If you have questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll walk you through it. And take the test in advance if you're not going to be able to make the show. Um,
yeah. I think the design stuff should be done in advance.
It is required to be done in advance. If that's a problem, again, reach out to me and I'll talk to you about that, and we'll see what we can do to make this happen for you. The more people that get certified, the better it is for the entire industry. It gets us, as Diana says, it solidifies us as an industry, which is true. It makes us, one of the things you're thinking about, if you, the architectural digest, or what is it, the architects guideline comes out with all these measurements that are required, um, for hanging and such. They shouldn't be making up these rules. They should be coming to us in the industry to make up these, to set the guidelines, not the architects. If you've ever looked at a set of architectural plans from from an architect with regards to the closet, and you just shake your head with some of the stuff that comes up. Um, Yes, Bill, yes, it does cost to take the test. All of that is on, the website. Diana says it separates real designers from people who just assemble components too. Yes, set yourself apart from Chuck in the truck. It makes a big difference when someone's looking at cost. It's much better to go to someone who's certified and knows what they're doing. Um, Diana, have you been using the fact that you're certified? Has that helped you at all? Do you market that? Or Denise, if Denise is still on, peek.
While we
Yes,
wait,
and yes from Diana. So Diana markets this, and it sets her apart so that she has something that makes me an expert in her field. Perfect, Diana. We're going to use your testimony, and Denise markets it. Perfect. So you set yourself apart, not just from Chuck in the truck, but from the closet company down the street that's, you know, discount, discount, discount. They're discounting, which is
themselves.
ridiculous. We're not going to go on there. Um, Show that you're worth it. Show, it's a career. It's not just a job. Absolutely, Diana. Diana, how long have you been doing closets? 32 years.
Dang.
Wow. And that is
I'm
the
only
mark of a true industry titan.
I'm only 36.
That's not nice. Scary, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so anyways, let's all get
So
our
yes, there is a fee, but it will behoove you to take it at the test, at the show. I think they have a special going on for show members with regards to this. We'll also, I think it's the night of the top shelf. We'll also make you'll get your certificate that you've passed. You could put it on your business cards. Know your closets, review these things, your measurements in your head. A lot of work went into the creating of this test. Again, guidelines. They're guidelines so that we're all on the same page doing the same guidelines so things make sense. You're just giving value to the industry and value to yourself by doing this. Any other questions out there? Ooh. Certification follows a designer too, not certifying the company, it's certifying you. That's correct. So I am a designer. I am the one being certified. It's not my company that's being certified. This is an individual certification. So keep that in mind. It's also a way of marketing yourself. Thankfully, my boss left for the day. You're marketing yourself and you're making yourself. So if you move from North Carolina to New Jersey and you want a job as a closet designer, not only do you have the fact that, yeah, I've been designing, but I'm certified. It makes you
I'd hire someone in a second if they came to me and said I'm certified.
well, certified and certifiable are a little bit different, Sean.
Certified as a designer.
I'm just kidding.
I'll clarify
Um,
that.
okay, so definitely, if again, questions, feel free to shoot us a text, an email, if you need help getting any of this.
Kyle,
The requirements that are all online. If you don't see them for some reason,
I'm gonna jump
does
in,
it ever
Wendy.
go away? Constance, there is a fee to maintain it, just your certification. I don't know if I can't remember if it's every year or every 2 years. I believe it's on the paperwork. However, that's the same thing that everyone does. NKBA certified designers they do a certain amount of education, and they also pay to continue their certification. Uh,
Kyle asked about he can't make it this year, but he says, will it be going on next year? And to answer that, yeah, it's gonna keep going, and there's different levels of getting certified. So as you progress and you want to do more and more harder design challenges to again prove you're capable, then yeah. So
Sean, while we're talking, can you go through the first few slides again, just so that they can look at them at what we did, so they have an idea? Karen, I'm Wendy, and Sean is the Canadian who calls partitions something else, gables.
Gable,
Um,
yep.
just so we'll just do a really quick so you can see what you missed. I think it was Karen who missed it. The association guide, gable proof.
The webinar is on the Closet website as well, or will be eventually. It will be. It won't be there now, but in the next couple days, it will get uploaded. So there's this one. That's one of the first ones. There's this one, and if somebody wants to go in kind of detail, email. You can email Wendy, who can put you in touch with me. I should have put my info up as well, but I can get this to you or explain it a bit.
This is being recorded, so it will be on the ACSP website, so that you can go back through and listen to our lovely commentary and look at some of the slides. But again, feel free, reach out, and we can help you out anyway. We are happy to. And if you're not at the show, you can, as Diana mentioned and reminded us, you can take the test anytime. You don't have to wait for the show. If you don't make it to the show, you can do it afterwards. Take it now. Take it next year. It doesn't matter. Okay, so it is a two-part design, which is the info that we just talked about, but there's also design challenges to keep in mind, which if you are registered for the test, you should have gotten an email from Janet already letting you know what your design challenges are, because we're trying to correct them in advance of the test so that you are completely good to go. I'm reading notes. Again, just from the Liberty Garage.
Yeah, we'll keep track of that, Tony.
All right.
We do have a list of who attends each webinar, who signs up, and who attends. So, and if you really want to get fancy, we can also see who's paying attention and who isn't. But yeah, we can take note for the education component about that.
Yeah, Tony, I don't know if we'll be able to see these questions afterwards. So if you want to email me what you just wrote down, because my email information is on the end of this webinar, then I'll make sure to follow up with both with Janet, who keeps track of all these. When you're working on your design aspects of the test, which is separate from what we just did, again, it's a two-part test, then just there will be certain requirements with regards to what you have. You know, please get certain amount. What you get is, I'm actually looking for where I stuck mine. You have a pantry, then you must have tray dividers. You have there there are a few different walk-in closets. There are a few, and so you're not gonna. So Tony, you're not gonna be able to sit down with the other two guys and do the same designs. There are random designs that you might get one walk-in closet and someone else might get a different walk-in closet. So they are not identical. There are a few random ones, but you get your points. So if somebody says they need 16 pairs of shoes, you need to get you will be tested to make sure that 16 pairs of shoes will fit in the closet that you did. So pay attention because everything is done on a point system.
Yeah, it's funny. I spoke to my designer about it afterwards. We each started doing the design element things, and we went into work. And I said, "Hey, what did you do? How did you find that?" He said, "Oh, I made the region. I did this sideways, and I did this." And I said, "Like, what the hell, man? You can't do that." And he's like, "What are you talking about? There's enough spaces. This worked out. This worked out." So I didn't realize everybody got different design challenges. So you totally can't cheat and get your friend or your boss or your other designer to help you, or vice versa. Everybody has to do their own thing. And I just printed it off and checked off as I went. And you have to definitely get creative to fit a lot of stuff in there, but it's doable. It all works. I hope. Cool. Well, I guess that's it. I think we're unless somebody has anything else to say, we got 10 minutes to 5, and we try to not keep these past 5. So next time, maybe we'll do a.
Diana says that there is a great sense of accomplishment when you pass. So absolutely. One more thing to put on your business card instead of just designer. You're certified, you're registered, and next you will be certified. So get registered so you can get certified, the next step up, because that's about to be released. Tony, we'll see you in Chicago. Send me an email so I make sure I have um, everyone who was on this in attendance. And if you want to and go on the website, guys, check it out and print out what's required, and we will take care of everything.
And also fill out your information on the website. Put pictures up as well and full contact info. A lot of it got carried over, but a lot of it did not. And it's just good to have your info up there.
Okay, I think we're good to go for now. Again, feel free to shout out, email, or a phone call, and we'll help you out any way we can.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for attending. Stop record.
Yeah, how? Wish I knew.